Good morning. I made some, what are these? Banana, oat, and chocolate chip muffins last night. So I did make 12 of them, cooled off, and went straight into the freezer, and then the other ones we're having for breakfast this morning. So the kids have already eaten, but I may as well have this one that I already touched. We have these nice silicone liners. They're kind of annoying to wash, but they work so well to keep your muffin tins clean. So I'm also gonna have a smoothie with my muffin. In here I've got almond milk, a couple or 3 heaping spoonfuls of cottage cheese, and then some frozen strawberries. I just got this new blender in the mail a few days ago now because I had talked about how this is our old Vitamix, but this part had stopped working. We got our new one, so it's just looking so nice and shiny and new. And then into the smoothie, I'm gonna add my whey protein powder. This isn't the same one. This container is not the brand I actually have in the container. So it's just an unflavored whey protein powder. I put in a scoopful of collagen as well as a scoopful of creatine. So all that goes into my smoothie and makes a delicious, creamy smoothie. I'll have that with my muffin. The kids also had some yogurt with their muffins. Just poured myself a coffee. I just put about 1 cream, whatever that means. When I go out, get coffee on the go, I order 1 cream. So I think that's about what I do into my coffee cup. And going to drink that, and I'll take you along today and show you all the food, all the things we eat today. We just finished our school morning. We're gonna go out sledding, and then we're gonna come home and have lunch afterwards. So it's gonna be a bit of a later lunch. And to go along, okay Wes, and you're ready to go sledding, awesome. To go along with I'm trying to do like a bit of a pantry clean out, just get a lot of these things that have been in our pantry for a while used up. And I would say this one is not a favorite. Wesley, you can bring the rest of that muffin too if you want. But we need to use it up. So I'm gonna bring it along for a little snack. And even if most of the kids, yes I can, most of the kids might not like all the parts of it, but I know some of the kids like the dried mango, some of the kids just like the nuts. Whatever, I probably won't buy this kind again, but I am gonna bring it while we go out today. No, if you wanna have one of those muffins, you can too. Just 2 muffins left from this morning. We're home from a fun time of sledding. We also were picking up groceries. Oh, you can't see them, but they're on the floor over there. We'll put them away a little bit later. But it's 12:30, time for lunch. I'm just gonna slice up this half loaf of sourdough. We also have some of these buns that I baked yesterday, and we had those for lunch, so there's just a few left over if someone wants to have that instead of bread. We did finish off those muffins from this morning, as well as have some of that trail mix while we were out. My friend said to me recently, in talking about kids and picky eaters, she said sometimes sometimes seasoning is the best, hunger is the best seasoning. That's what it was. And I've thought of that a few times, because if kids are really hungry, then, something that maybe, so for instance, that trail mix, they wouldn't open up the cupboard and pick that. If there are other options, they would pick other options. But it's not like they can't stand it. They would just pick other things first. But when we're out and about and everyone's hungry, well, you know what? They will have some of that trail mix and they won't complain, because when they're hungry, hunger is the best seasoning. So I just thought that was a funny quote, and I was like, too true. If they're really hungry, they'll eat. All right, so just slicing this bread, I am going to just get some ham and cheese ready. We'll just do ham and cheese sandwiches. I think I have Yeah, maybe I'll slice up some cucumbers and carrots. I toasted and buttered that bread, as well as buttered the buns. We've got ham and cheese, cucumbers and carrots, and then we have some hummus in here, especially with the carrots. I love to have hummus for my veggie dip. We are snacking on these today, these sourdough crackers. They are just the best. Hey! The kids love these. I wish I could stay on top of making like big batches of them because the kids would snack on them every day and eat nothing else. Like they are honestly so tasty. See? I was just announcing that we're snacking on these this afternoon and everybody's coming running. Leave some for me. Okay, what in the world? This current task has nothing to do with tonight's dinner, but I want to cook up this bag of, these are Great Northern beans. I want to make a white chicken chili later on. It's like in 2 days. But I bought these white beans today and I thought I'm just gonna cook them up in the Instant Pot and then that will be done when it's time for me to cook that meal. So what I do here, well, I guess first off I should rinse these beans. So I'm just gonna open the package and pour them into my colander, give them a good rinse. So I'm just gonna dump all of that into my Instant Pot. I actually just did this like 2 days ago with a bag of black beans. Going along with me trying to use up what's in my pantry, I have a few bags of beans, and what I do is I stick the beans in to the Instant Pot here, and I cook them up, and then I put them into individual bags and stick them into my freezer. Rather than use canned beans, it's just a little bit cheaper. What a like single recipe would look like is 1 bag of beans, 1 cup of beans and 3 cups of water. So assuming this bag is the same size as those black beans I did the other day, it was 4 cups of beans. So I'm gonna dump 12 cups of water in here. I'll give it a little stir here. And then I pressure cook for 30 minutes and then natural release for 20 minutes. And I am so ready for another coffee. I just have some cream down in the bottom of my cup here. And I'm gonna top it up with some fresh coffee. And now it's time to prep dinner, and I kind of talked about it earlier in this video that I'm trying to do a bit of a pantry and freezer clear out, and it's a tricky thing to do because I really don't love the idea of getting rid of all of our food storage. Don't love that, but at the same point I do want to take care of everything that is older that it's just time to eat up. What that means is when I am shopping for groceries, I am first shopping what I have in storage before looking to buy what I need for my meals for the week. Also, I am definitely not stocking up at all. Like when I see a sale, okay, maybe I can buy that thing and use it towards my meals this week. But mostly I am trying to shop the food I already have, if that makes sense. So for instance, I had this, as I was looking through all my canned goods, like we go through canned goods pretty quickly. I'll buy tomato sauce and diced tomatoes and stuff. Those get used up because we are using them regularly. Something like artichokes, we don't use regularly. I remember buying artichokes because I made a spinach artichoke dip at least a couple years ago, maybe even 3 or 4 years ago. I'm guessing that must be when I bought this can as well and just never used it up. So I was thinking this week, what can I do with artichokes? So I found a recipe that's like a spinach and artichoke pasta. So I also had spinach in my fridge. I also have pasta already, so nothing I really needed to buy. But the recipe did ask for 2 cans of artichokes. So yes, I bought a second, I'm gonna drop these, a second can of artichokes just so that I could make this meal. But that can of artichokes is all that I bought in order to make this meal. Everything else I had and were things that I could just use up from my own pantry. So I'm gonna get that started. This is a recipe I've never made before, so I just have to cook up the pasta in one pot. Now, here's one other little thing. I never make meatless meals, like never. Our dinners have meat every single day, unless we do like a breakfast for dinner. But if we're having like a pasta, yeah, we're having meat. And it wasn't until like middle of the day here that I was like, wait a second, I was so excited about this meal. I had my meal plan ready, I had dinner, you know, I knew what I was gonna make, had all the ingredients. Wait, there's no meat in this recipe. There is like cream cheese, Parmesan cheese, I feel like there's one other like sour cream or something. I don't know. I'll have to pull up the recipe. I do have some bacon bits in the fridge. I think I'll sprinkle that in because we can't. We need some sort of meat. Anyway, I'll pull up my recipe and kind of show you the process as I make this meal. I'm just starting my water here for the pasta. The recipe calls for penne. I am using macaroni pasta instead. One, because it's what I have on hand, and two, because in my opinion, macaroni is definitely superior to penne pasta. I would do macaroni or rotini, but penne, I'm just not a big fan. First, I am melting some butter in my pan, and I am just going to wilt all the spinach in here. I transferred my spinach to a colander. I'm not quite sure why. I'm thinking it's just gonna drain the butter, which I don't mind keeping in the recipe, but I'm just following the recipe. Usually for cooking, I follow the recipe pretty closely the first time, just to make sure I'm getting a really good representation of what the recipe calls for, and then I can adjust later on. But I'm adding just half a block of cream cheese here that I cubed. Then I'm going to add 1 cup of Parmesan cheese and 1 cup of sour cream. This is going to be such a creamy sauce. I'm going to add some garlic powder. The recipe does call for some minced garlic, but I just feel like I have a lot of moving parts right now. I don't feel like chopping up garlic, so just going the easy route and doing garlic powder. My pasta is really close to being done, just not quite there. Now I'm adding in my artichokes. They don't want to come out. Here we go. I'm just looking at my recipe again. It does call for quartered artichokes, not whole artichokes, but that's okay. We're adapting and it's gonna be just fine. It might have been a little bit easier to chop these before adding them. It's all good. I have added all the spinach in, and now I am going to add the pasta. I didn't measure how much pasta I cooked. Look at me, I'm telling you I follow a recipe closely, and I mean some aspects of it, I guess. I'm just gonna see how that looks and if I should add more or not. I also did follow the recipe by saving 1 cup of my pasta water, and I'm glad I did that because I'm thinking there's a good likelihood I am gonna add that just because this sauce is very thick. I think some of that water would be a nice addition. This is all ready to be served. Look how good that looks. Love it. I did add most of that cup of water. I also just chopped up some broccoli we'll have on the side. Lots of veggies here. I did take a little taste, and it's bringing back all these memories from like the beginning of our marriage. My first few years being a wife, I made this cream cheese pasta dish similar to this one. It didn't have spinach, it didn't have artichoke. Actually, it had chicken and broccoli, but it was something I made often, and I haven't even thought about it since, but flavors will do that to you. Flavors just bringing back those memories. So it's gonna be so good. I think everyone's gonna love it. I know I said I would add bacon bits, and I think if people wanna add it to their individual serving, they can go ahead, but it's gonna be really rich. I don't really think it's lacking anything. These beans are done and just draining. They're still steaming, so I'm just gonna wait for them to cool off. And once they're cool, then I will separate them into different packages. I just got the beans all packaged, and I like to flatten them out like this so that they can just stack inside the freezer. I just put it in our kitchen freezer, so it's just easy to grab when I'm cooking. And yeah, love that.